I'm Iyad Johnson. I'm minister of this wonderful congregation, the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist, and I welcome you to hear Iyad Burnat's story of life in his small village in Palestine, Bil'in. In our UU, Unitarian Universalist movements for social justice, we often say that we are standing on the side of love when we go out and do our actions. And what that means for us is that we seek to stand with people anywhere whose human rights are being denied, and that we do so in the spirit of that wider, greater love, which understands that we are all one human family in this world. The kind of love that so many of our most revered teachers of social change embodied through their acts of nonviolent resistance. So I am pleased that Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East has enabled our congregation to, at least tonight, symbolically stand on the side of love in playing a part in the efforts of Iyad Burnat to bring about peaceful change. So thank you to the UUJME and to our own Peace and Justice Committee for their tireless work in this area. And I particularly want to thank Peggy Mish and other members of our committee who are out there for their work. And again, welcome. And Peggy is now going to introduce our speaker.
As Iyad said, I'm Peggy Mish, a member of the Charles M. Jones Peace and Justice Committee of the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist, and am so pleased to have Iyad Burnat come to North Carolina to speak to us at the Community Church. Iyad has been taking across the country on a 3-month speaking tour sponsored by the Unitarian Universalists for Justice in the Middle East. The person who initiated this tour is a fellow UUJME for Justice member, Jill Baker of Ann Arbor, Michigan, who traveled with me on the UUJME human rights trip in July 2011, and both of us visited Iyad in his home in Bil'in. Jill Baker will be speaking here March 3rd. In this area, other co-sponsors of Iyad's visit have joined the Unitarian Universalists, Balance and Accuracy in Journalism, Coalition for Peace with Justice, and Jews for a Just Peace. We thank you. We are honored to present Iyad Burnat, head of the Bil'in Popular Committee and a leader in the village's nonviolent popular resistance movement. Some of you were introduced to the life in Bil'in since 2005 from the award-winning documentary, 5 Broken Cameras, that you may have seen here January 14th, the film made by Iyad's brother, Emad Burnat. Iyad was born in Bil'in in September of 1973. He is married and has 4 children. He became involved in popular resistance as a teenager and was arrested by the Israeli military for the first time at age 17. He was accused of throwing stones and imprisoned for 2 years. Since then, he has been arrested and imprisoned by the Israeli military several more times. Welcome, Iyad.
Thank you. Shukran. Thank you. So I am Iyad Burnat from Bil'in village, the head of the Popular Committee Against the Wall and Settlement in small village Bil'in, 16 kilometers west of Ramallah in West Bank area. So we started our non-violent struggle before many years in Bil'in and in other places in Palestine. That we live under the occupation since 65 years now. So for example, I want to talk about my life, that I joined this resistance when I was a child. I am 39 years old now, all my life under the occupation. as my father and my children now. So I joined the first Intifada when I was 15 years old. I started in the school with my friends, that we was going out in the streets in march, in non-violent demonstration against the occupation, to have our freedom like all the children in the world. When I was 17, I've been arrested by the Israeli army, and it's really, if we talk about the life of the prisoners, as a Palestinian prisoners in the Israeli jail, it's very hard. It's a very bad situation, especially when you are child, you started your life in jail. So I remember in 1992, and I didn't forget that, never, because it was the very bad part of my life. I saw the first time a big group of soldiers raid my home at night time. At the middle of the night, I find soldiers cover their faces, wake me up from I was sleeping. And they told my father in that time that we want him for 5 minutes. These 5 minutes takes 2 years in the bad situation in Israeli jail. So when they took me to Dhahriya jail. It's near Hebron, and also I remember in that time it was snow in Palestine, in the cities, and it was very cold. When I entered Dhahriya jail, I find 2 soldiers waiting for me. I saw him big soldiers. I didn't know if they are big or not because I was a child. So I was really afraid and scared from the soldiers. So they take all my clothes. They're starting to beat me, and they put me outside in the cold. And it was all the day. So I spent 21 days in this situation, in the day outside, at night in a small room. I can just stand. So sometimes I was sleeping when I was standing. And they want me to sign on a paper that they write it in Hebrew language. And in that time also, there was a lot of Palestinian children that's been arrested in the first Intifada. So after 21 days, I signed on this paper because I cannot live more under this situation. I find the paper in the court. You know, the court is part of the occupation. The court is military court. They take us to military court, as the judge is a soldier, one of the soldiers. So he's told me that I was throwing stones and I was sleeping. I was lead the demonstration in the school against the Israeli country. I was in a big party called Fatah party. In that time, I didn't know what the parties was. So I have my lawyer, but he didn't speak there because he's a Palestinian. And they believe the security and the soldiers in the court. So the judge gave me 2 years. I spent the 2 years in a Nakab jail, in the desert. When I enter Nakab jail, I find 20,000 people in this jail. Most of them is the children, 13, 14, 15 years old. In the jail, they didn't call us by our names. So they give us a numbers. Everybody have a number. So my number was 20,321. So before me, in this jail, it was 20,321 people. And every day, you have to sign 5 times. And they call you by your number. If you forget, that they call you by your number and you forget this is your name, they take you to other place as the small room, put you for 1 week or 2 weeks. So this is the situation of the prisoners, the Palestinian prisoners in jail, for nothing. It's happened with me, and I know it's that for nothing. We are 9 brothers, 2 sisters. 6 of us was in jail. The last one was 9 years. So my mother know all the Israelis prisoners because she was visiting us in the jail. 2004, they started to build the apartheid wall in Bil'in land. As I told you, Bil'in is a small village. Most of the people is the farmers. They used to have the olive trees in their life. When they started to build the wall, the apartheid wall, and the settlement Mittiyahu Mizrah in the area, in the Palestinian land of the Bil'in people, they destroyed 1,000 olive trees. Olive tree for the Palestinian, it means a lot of things. First, it's the holy tree. The olive tree is more than 1,000 years old. They destroyed it in 1 minute. And as I told you, most of the people is the farmers. They used to have the olive trees in their life, in their food. Most of the family was sell the olive oil. Now, most of them, they have to buy it. They destroyed the life of the people by building this wall and the settlements in the area. So if you look to the map here, you saw the green line. The green line is what United Nations mentioned, that's 2 states, Palestinian state and Israeli state, in 1967. Here is the apartheid wall, the red line. It's across the village from the half. 60% from the land of the village, they confiscated it by the wall. So between the wall and the green line in Bil'in area is 6 kilometers. These 6 kilometers, as you see, is full of settlements in that area. So what the Israeli government do when they confiscated the land? They started in 1990 to confiscate the land of the village, and they was confiscated it by a closed military area or by security reason. They used many laws against the Palestinians to confiscate the land. And then after 2 or 3 or 4 years, they started to build a new settlements in that area. So all of these settlements in this area, they built it after Oslo Agreement. You know Oslo Agreement after 1993. So it means that the Israelis didn't care for any agreements between the Palestinians and the Israelis. They didn't care for any international law. They didn't care for International Security Council, for United Nations. So always they confiscated more land until now. Just last week we heard Netanyahu said we want to build a new settlement in E1 area. And you know what's the mean of to build settlement in A1 area? They cut the Palestinian area, what they have now, to pieces. So the people from the north, they cannot go to the south by this settlement. So they need permission, like the Palestinian now, if they want to go to Jerusalem, they need permission. And for security reason, most of the Palestinians didn't have the permission to go. So this is the goal of the Israeli government. This is the goal of the apartheid war. That's to make the Palestinian life hard day by day, by putting more checkpoints, by confiscating more land, by stole the life of the Palestinian. So we didn't accept that in Bil'in village. We started our non-violent demonstration 2004 December, and it was every day. In the beginning it was every day, December until February 2005. In that time we decided to have our demonstrations every week, every Friday. Since 8 years now we have our demonstration every week. Every week we have a new idea to use in our demonstration in non-violent way. We have international from all of the world. They participate with us in our demonstration. We have Israeli activists every week that they come and join us in our demonstration. We use the non-violent way. We put ourselves in cages and barrels and cylinders in front of the bulldozers. We fight by our bodies. Try to stop them to destroy the life of our people. But on the other side, we find a lot of violence from the Israeli soldiers, that they use many kinds of weapons against us. And it's illegal to use it against the people by the international law. Most of the weapons is illegal to use it against the people. And most of these weapons is made in United States. They killed 2 of our friends in Bil'in village. 40 people was killed around the villages that's doing the non-violent struggle weekly demonstration by these weapons that's made in United States. So Israelis have a big support from United States, especially the army, that they have the weapons, they have the companies who's destroyed the land, destroyed the olive trees, like Caterpillar company. They have $3.5 billion a year. It goes to Israel's army and the political support. Everywhere we find the veto of the United States to support Israel. So as a Palestinian, we believe that America is part of occupation by sending all this support to this country. And they know that they're building illegal settlements by the international law. They know that the international companies cannot work in West Bank area by the international law. They know that. Israel is not a poor country. They are the rich country in the world. And we didn't have a problem as a Palestinian to send the money to the Israeli people, to peaceful thing, or to human rights. But why they send it to the army? So when we find that the weapons they kill our friend Bassem Abu Rahma, it's made in the United States, all the people in the village was very sad. So why they support them? When our children collect the weapons from the streets, it's made in the United States. So we didn't have answer for our children when they ask these questions. If you have answers, please. So this is what the Israelis use against us to break us. And not just the Palestinian. We have 1,300 people was injured just in Bil'in area since 8 years. We as international Palestinian Israelis activists, we have many of international people that's been injured. I just last week met Christian Anderson, and he was injured by the same tear gas that they shot our friend Bassem Abu Rahman. And he's in very bad situation. He spent 3 years under command, and he's in the wheelchair. He's lost his eye, he's lost most of his body, he's lost his brain. When we give him 5 minutes to talk to the people, we didn't understand him when he was talking. He talking about things it's not in the world. We have 2 of our friends from Japan, they lost their eyes by the tear gas canister. We have many of our friends, Israeli friends, who's been injured by the same rubber bullets and tear gas that they use it against us in our demonstration. So the bullet didn't know if you are a Palestinian or Israeli or international. This is how they try to break us, by a lot of violence, to use a lot of violence against the people. In the demonstration, in night times. So the very bad part now, it's the night time. When they raid the village at night, it's very hard to explain that, because really I live this part of the night raids. They raid my home about 12 times. I have 4 children in my home. And they didn't care for anybody. They throw sound bombs under the windows, tear gas inside of the homes. Everybody had to wake up from his sleeping. I have my daughter, she's 8 years now. And she's grown with the faces of the soldiers. She smelled the tear gas when she was 1 month. So she cannot sleep alone. So we have a lot of problems of our children now in the village, that they grow with the violence of the soldiers in the day and in the night. The soldiers was follow the children to the school sometimes, and they was throwing tear gas inside of the school just to scare the children and to break the people. They didn't like the non-violent way, because they know that this way is affected the Israeli army. By this way we can succeed. By this way we can send our message to many people in the world. Because this we continue. And we know the Israeli soldier, every time they like the violent. Every time they try to push the Palestinian to use the violent. By sending special forces to the demonstration, to our demonstration, to throw stones to the soldiers. As the soldiers under cover join us in the demonstration, throwing stones to the soldiers. And in our strategy, we didn't start it never to throw stones to the soldiers, because this we know them. When we know them, you saw in the movie, maybe in the beginning, in 5 broken cameras, that's when they arrested my brother. It was in the demonstration, and they was throwing stones to the soldiers. When they know them, our people, they take the guns, start to shoot, and they arrested 2 of our people in the demonstration. So they use the special forces in many places now. But in Bil'in, we succeed. We have many succeeds as small village. A big victory for a small village that succeed to demolish part of the wall. And it's the first time that the Israelis court demolished part of the wall in Bil'in area. We succeed to stop 2,000 apartments in Mikityahu Mizrah settlement. We succeed to send our message to many people in the world that is not security wall what the Israelis said. This is just to confiscate more land, to build more settlements, to put the Palestinians together in jail, to transfer the Palestinian out from their land, from their villages, to make the life of the Palestinian hard day by day. You go there, you will feel that. You see that. You look to the settlement is green, swimming pools, 24 hours the water. In the Palestinian side, in the village, you will see it's brown. You will see the roofs of the Palestinian is full of tanks to collect the water when they have it. So in summertime, for example, we have the water one day a week in our village. Sometimes 2 weeks. So by this way, they want to make the life of the Palestinian very hard. So for example, after 10 years, you didn't have places to build new houses to your children. You didn't have water. You didn't have job for the farmers as a farmers. So everybody lost his life. So the people have to go to find other ways, to find other jobs for their families. And this is what the Israelis want. So here I have some photos I can show to you quickly. So this is the water that they use it against us and spray us every week. So they spray us by water. You know what's this water? This is chemical things. They collect it together and it's made very bad smell. So if you get some of this water, you have to throw your clothes. You have to wash yourself many times. So this is the tear gas that they shot it by the machine. They put it in the jeep and they throw 50 tear gas in the same time. So you will see all the area full of tear gas. This is our Avatar people. You know Avatar movie? So we make our people as Avatar people and they go to the wall to send the message to Israel's army. That's the same story. At night time. So this is the olive trees we talk about. That's if you go to the settlements now or to the Israeli cities inside and you find olive trees in the gardens, it's from our side. So the companies was storing the olive trees as a big olive trees, old olive trees, and they was selling it to the gardens inside of the settlements and in Israel side. So many kinds of weapons, and most of these weapons is made in the United States. If you search tear gas canister, you will find many of these tear gas made in the United States. Here is our friend Basim Abu Rahma. He was shot by the tear gas canister in his chest by the one that's most dangerous tear gas that they use it against the people in our demonstration. So when they shot our friend Basim, it's make a big hole in his chest. That means it's very fast and very heavy, and they shoot it direct to the people. Here is our flotilla to Gaza, that we make our flotilla and we go to the war, not to Gaza. So they use a big amount of tear gas every week. They use a lot of tear gas. Here's the tear gas that we talk about. It's the black rocket, we called it. They kill many people by this tear gas. We have many demonstrations for the children, especially after the night raids. That's to send message to the soldiers, just we want to sleep. Also at night time, we talk about this, that everybody have to go out from his home. So we have many famous people that's visiting Bil'in, as Bil'in become a famous village in the world after the non-violent resistance. We have people who have Nobel Peace Prize. We have members in European parliaments that's visiting Bil'in, groups from everywhere, like Desmond Tutu, Jimmy Carter here. So this is the soldier at night time. Netanyahu Mizrah settlement on the land of Bil'in. So they arrested 150 from the village. Most of them is the children. And we have people who's 13 years old, 14, 15 years old has been arrested. They put them in jail between 4 months to 18 months sometimes. And also everyone have to pay to the court money to release him after spend time in jail between 2 to 15,000 shekel. Some weapons it's made in the United States. All of the weapons, not some. But we have also many of our friends from United States that join us in our demonstration, in weekly demonstration, and they comes by groups to know more about the situation. Here is the Mudain elite settlement. As I told you in the beginning, they built it after Oslo Agreement. We have now 50,000 people live in this settlement, and they continue to build more houses. So here is Mahatma Gandhi. He was visiting Bil'in, Martin Luther King, and Nelson Mandela. Yes. So because we believe in this way, we believe in these people, that they succeed in United States, in India, in South Africa. We make our people look like them, and we put them to lead us in one of our demonstrations. So this is in general what's going on in Bil'in village. We have now 20 places that's doing the same of Bil'in, weekly demonstration in West Bank area.